All right. So what about the Colts, man? Both Colts and the Titans, last I checked, are at 9.5 wins on their over/under. They both won 11 games last year. We'll start with the Colts, who their first round pick, they had 21st overall, went with Kwity Paye. I think in a lot of mocks, Paye was a guy who was going to fall to them or go to them because a team that doesn't really have a lot of holes, they definitely needed to improve their pass rush, and they did that by getting him in the 21st. A little bit of a surprising pick in the 50 with their 54th overall. They're picking the second round, again going pass rush with Dayo Odeyingbo. Hopefully I said that right. Who is might not play most of the year, coming off an injury. Then they go Kylan Granson, tight end out of SMU, to go with their other 17 tight ends on that team. Sean Davis, defensive back out of Florida, backup quarterback from Texas. Late round, they got 2 7-rounders, a receiver out of Charleston, West Virginia, and offensive lineman. Tackle they took in the 7th round from Penn State, Will Fries. How are you feeling about their draft?
Not great. So Kwity Paye is a stud, and I think he'll be great. But I think the draft could have gone much better for them. One thing that I really thought that they needed to address was offensive tackle, which they didn't. I understood their need for an edge rusher, and I liked the Kwity Paye pick in a vacuum. But Dayo Odeyingbo in the second round was just really tough for me. I don't think he's going to play at all this year. You got this new quarterback in Carson Wentz who needs to be protected. That you like. Sorry. So I think that the Colts think that they're, a couple players from being a real contender in the AFC. And I think that they had a number of spots to fill, and doubling down on edge and having the second guy like pretty much be unavailable for the first year of the contract doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think that they needed to protect Wentz. They could have used a corner, and they definitely could have used a wide receiver. Instead, they went tight end with Kylan Granson when they already have Mo Alley-Cox and they already have Jack Doyle. But maybe Kylan Granson's going to fill, I don't know, they're going to do 3 tight end sets, or they're going to make him that guy. I don't really understand it, because at receiver right now, I'm pretty sure all they have is Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton. I think Paris Campbell is still there. Like they're in need of a wide receiver. And I understand like they still have a little bit of money to play with. So maybe they make a move for a veteran guy towards the latter half of this offseason. But I like Kwity Paye to them, but essentially after that, I just didn't really like the draft much. Mainly because of, even though I like Odeyingbo, his injury history, but not getting a corner, not getting a wide receiver, it just makes no sense to me. And not getting a tackle. And I understand they got Eric Fisher, but even then, like Eric Fisher is coming off of an Achilles injury himself. And they say he's going to be ready for the beginning of the season, but with Achilles, who knows? I just think it's a big gamble. And with that second round pick, they could have gotten, I don't know, they could have gotten Radins, or I don't know if Cosme was still on the board. Let me see.
Yeah, I think most Colts fan would probably say the same thing, that they should have beefed up that tackle position after Constanza left, retired.
Right.
If Eric Fisher can find a way to not only like get healthy in time for the season, but to stay healthy, they, to replace Constanza with Fisher, that's pretty good.
Could be a steal. He's still only on a 1-year deal though, and he was still $10 million. I'd rather have somebody out of the draft who's, essentially free. Not really, but on a rookie deal, instead of paying 30-year-old Eric Fisher, who's coming off of an Achilles injury, who's $10 million to play
Yeah.
that same position.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. They've still got one of the best like center guard tackle combos, and Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, their right tackle Braden Smith.
Right.
Protecting Wentz is going to be key. Like, it's going to be so key. I'm going to actually take the under, believe it or not, 9.5 wins on a 17-game season. I had a tough time with that because I was like, they won 11 games last year, and they're adding Carson Wentz. They're adding some pass rush help. They've got a ton of cap space, so they could continue to improve. But I'm really hesitant to like crown Wentz the Wentz of like 3 years ago. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. And I think he struggles. And I think Phillip Rivers did such a great job last year of just doing what he had to do, just that veteran presence of throwing that ball on the ground if there was nothing there, or just shoving it over to the running backs. I feel like that made the offensive coordinator's job a lot easier through Phillip Rivers. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that doesn't happen next year. I think they struggle. I think they struggle to get Carson Wentz to just do those little things that, because I feel like he's a guy that goes for the home run because he's got that rocket of an arm. But I don't know that he's going to have that time, in the pocket to make those plays down the field to those, those burners that he's got, in Pittman and Hilton and Campbell. So I'm going to take the under. Wouldn't be surprised if they win 14 games next year, but they have a very tough schedule. I mean, they've got the Bucks, they've got the Bills, the Ravens, Rams, Seahawks, Dolphins. Could be, those could be tough teams. They're not as scary as they, were a couple years ago, but I think it's a tall order to say that they win 10 games. And that's, for me, the biggest question mark is that quarterback. I had conversations with, Clackey, who's part of the Game of Pros, where he wanted Carson Wentz to come to Washington. And I was like, no way, Jose. Like, that guy's damaged goods. If they're able to turn him around, I don't know that it happens this year. I think it's going to kind of be a work in progress. I hope that they just pound the ball with Jonathan Taylor, and I hope he falls to me in like the 3rd round of fantasy draft. Probably not going to happen, but
I don't think he's fallen to the 3rd round, man.
No, probably not. What are you taking, the over?
Yeah, I'll take the over. I could see them getting 10 wins. They still have
the Texans and Jags twice.
They still have the Texans and Jags twice. The Titans, who I think may have actually gotten worse this year. I can't say the same though for the Colts. I don't think that they've gotten much worse. I think that Wentz, I would hope that if last year, best case scenario, or even a likely scenario, Wentz had the yips, maybe had an injury, that was really bothering him, which we know he was hurt, of course. But I don't think that they've gotten too much worse. I think that they're still coached really well. I think that Wentz can deliver a Rivers level of production, and then add in like the mobility aspect of it. I like a few of their moves. They actually, I really do like the Kwity Paye pick, and I like a few of the other things that they've done. I don't think they've gotten worse. I think they could potentially take a step back just with the level of competition, but I would still probably peg them at about 10 games. So I'll go like barely over.
Yeah.